Tips for verbal and visual learners. So the visual learner is exactly that. They are the learner that is going to learn best when they see something. This is going to be diagrams, flowcharts, pictures, media, timelines, films, demonstrations, anything at all. In contrast, our verbal learner likes to focus on words. Remember that? They get more out of words, whether they are going to be written or spoken explanations. Now, like all learning style preferences, it's important to remember that you're going to really get more when information is presented both ways. So although you may really like the visual side or you really love the verbal side, the best learning occurs when you have a combination of that visual and that verbal. This is where it gets quite frustrating for the visual learner because most of our courses lean toward that verbal learner. There's very little visual information. Students are going to be required to sit still, especially in college, right? And they listen to a lecture. They're not going to be able to really participate except to read the material on a chalkboard, and maybe they're given a handout occasionally. A lot of their learning is going to really fall into textbooks. So unfortunately, most people are visual learners, and this means that most students do not get nearly as much as they would out of classes if more visual information had been presented. Now remember again that good learners are really capable of processing information on either side, visual and verbal. Helping the visual learner. So this really is basic information. If you're a visual learner or you have a visual learner, you need to provide visual information. That means diagrams, sketches, media, charts, photographs, infographics are wonderful. Since a lot of course material, especially in college, is presented in a more verbal way, it's difficult for the visual learner. So you may want to ask your instructor, or you might want to ask a librarian or talk to your student success space or your student success department and look and see if there are any kind of videotapes, if you have media, if you have audio, anything at all that's going to help you to get through that course material and especially those textbooks. One of my favorite things to use for the visual learner is called concept mapping. So concept mapping is where you list key points and then you're going to draw circles and you're going to connect them, kind of like a web. And so there will be lines and arrows between different things in order to show some of those connections. This is really going to help within these wonderful lectures, right? Because now while you're taking the lectures, you're going to create a visual means to be able to really understand and assimilate the information. Another way that you can make notes more visual is adding colors. Try using Cornell notes. And then also be sure that you pull out a highlighter, go back over your notes after class, and highlight things that are connected. Also, don't forget to use those lines we talked about in concept mapping. Helping the verbal learner. So writing summaries and outlines of the material in your own words is going to be very helpful. Sometimes it can be really effective if you were to sit down and work in a group or with a partner. That way you're able to discuss what's going on, and that discussion piece is very important because now you are including your audio hearing, you're including your eyes, and you're also including your mouth, so you're including more of your senses. And this is going to really help you to learn even more as you do the explaining and as you teach someone else.